It's fantastic weather today. You know, last few weeks I've been sat outside and I've been sort of wrapped up and even a blanket and hood up and everything. But today it's wonderful. So this is fantastic. I'm going to bang on about something I talk about a lot, which is habit formation and discipline. And I was thinking what discipline is really. Well, discipline is the act of sticking to your guns on a set of habits, if you like, or committing to a practice, whether that's a way of life or an activity or whatever, regardless of how you feel about it, what your current in the moment feeling is. So think about discipline, it's like it's a choice, isn't it, between what you want now, like what you want right this second, as in what'll make you feel good right now, versus what you want later. So it's an act of delayed gratification, in a way, but also not. It depends on how you reframe it. So if you see discipline as a choice on a way of life, and you like that way of life, then even though it's hard, you might enjoy it because you live in it. You know, it's like a big part of this is like what I always talk about: create an identity for yourself and then live in accordance with it. That is discipline. But I think living like that, living with intent, is actually very gratifying and rewarding. It's what makes us get through big projects and get big things achieved in life. I was having a chat yesterday. You know, I've been talking to Roberto about this, and I was like saying, you know, I don't need to do all these things. I don't like, you know, like the new business selling the journals. Like, I love this because it is discipline. This journal represents everything that I talk about and how I want to live and how I do live best I can. Not always perfect. It is everything about me put into this product. But creating the business side of it, as in like getting the journals published, creating the e-commerce system, you know, getting all the marketing done. I didn't have to do that. I've already got a business. I did not have to do it. And then you might think, well, why do we do things? Why do we want to achieve things in life? Like, you know, we could all have a simple life. None of us need to do anything, right? We could all do pretty much the bare minimum, as long as we got enough money. Remember, you only need the amount of money. Money's like a tool. You only need enough money to live the life that you want. So you could choose a very simple life. You know, no partner, no dating, nothing like that. You know, no extravagance, not really spending much money, living very simply, and be happy if you choose that. But most people want to achieve certain things, and this is where it comes in. So why do we do these things? Why do we want to advance our career? You know, why do we want to do these things? Well, we just have this human need, and that's where discipline comes in. So if you're going to commit to achieving something, whether that is something in your career or a fitness goal or start a new business, this is where you need discipline, because trying to rely purely on, you know, yeah, this term motivation, it's actually bollocks. Like, there's no such thing as motivation. It's like, it's a commitment to a goal. And that's why I like to use the term identity, because you create an identity. You say, right, I'm going to be this person that does this thing, right? Or creates this thing, creates this business, whatever it might be you want to achieve. I'm going to be this person. And then I'm going to start living in accordance with it, with your daily rituals, routines, and habits. So, you know, if you have this identity about maybe a fitness goal, whether it's like I want to train a martial art, or I want to get good a physique, or whatever you want to do, you create that identity, and then you have to train every day and eat well. You know what I mean? You have to live in accordance with that identity, and that takes a shitload of discipline. There might not always be motivation to do it, but you do it anyway, right? And that's what discipline is. You commit to doing it. So it is back to, like, a simple question. You're choosing, what do I want right now, between what I want right now and what I want in the future. So if you look at the fitness example, or the sport, it could be a sport, right? You're trying to compete in a cycling competition or a running competition or whatever, a marathon or whatever, right? What you want right now might be a piece of cake, right? But you're not going to choose that. You're going to choose completing the marathon successfully, which means you're going to sacrifice that cake and any other things, and tighten up your diet, and get yourself lean and fit and all these things in this example, which is fucking hard, right? You won't be motivated to do that, but you need the discipline to do it, because you're looking at what you want in the future versus what you want now. And it also feeds into one of Naval Ravikant's best quotes, in my opinion. I can't remember it word for word, but in a nutshell, it's like, when you're caught between two paths in a decision, like a fork in the road, you should always choose the path that offers the most pain in the short term. Right? If you think about that, with that example that we talked about, that when you're choosing pain in the short term, there's always pain. You can either get it now or get worse pain later. So in that example, you're training for the marathon. Right? You've got a choice. Do I eat the cake or not? Eat the cake, quick gratification, what you want now, your brain's happy because it's getting its fix. But down the line, long term, that will lead to long-term pain. You'll put on weight, you won't be able to run the marathon, you'll get health issues, right? So if you choose the pain in the short term, that's how you get the result. So when Naval says, when you're caught between two decisions, you should always choose the path that offers the most pain in the short term. The reason for that is because if there's initial pain, it means change, right? The uncomfort, the difficulty, means that pain generally will mean that there is a better result at the end of it. So it makes sense. So yeah, discipline. It's just a choice between what you want now and what you want in the future. Hello, how are you doing? Oh, you're just saying hello. Yeah, thank you. And there isn't really much more to it than that. It's just a simple choice. You might have seen this before. If you haven't, I'm going to whip it up to you. But we've got this. You can go on my website and find this. It's in here. This identity evolution cycle. You see it? The way it works is, right, it's quite a simple diagram. You've got an identity, right? Who you are currently. Now, you can lie about this, because when you get down to the bottom there, your daily habits, we are the sum of our habits. And the idea being is, you've got an identity at the top, and then you create some plans. This is like my goals, and then you start living in accordance with that identity, with your daily habits, right? And if your habits are in alignment with that identity, it confirms the identity, right? So what you can do is keep feeding in a new identity, a little subtle improvement, right? A new goal. And then as long as you live in accordance with it, eventually it will confirm it. We are the sum of our habits, right? You can fucking pretend either way. You can say, I eat really healthfully, and then when no one's looking, you stuff in your face with sweets and ice cream and all that, you know. My brother always says that your body don't lie, you know. It's very true. So same. I always think like you see this coming up in relationships quite a lot, like where uh, some people kind of play the victim. Oh, I'm always, you know, getting treated badly, or you know, they're a fucking narcissist, and everyone's a narcissist to these people. Yet they're kind of lying when you really look at it. Why do the relationships keep failing? Well, maybe what are you doing personally? And we lie to ourselves about who we are, you know, and it's in everything. The only way to do it is to create that identity and live in accordance with it, with your daily, you know, what you do on a day-to-day basis, your daily habits. So, you know, it doesn't matter what you do. Like me with the businesses, I've started this new business. Fucking hell, did that take discipline? Yeah, of course it did. I didn't have to do it, but I wanted to do it. You know, I created that identity. I wanted to do it. It's what I want to do, right? I spent all money, time, effort doing it. Why? So that in 2 years it'll pay off. That's why. A lot of discipline. Quite a lot, actually. It's a lot of hard work. And I didn't have to do it. It could have been, oh, fuck it, I can't be bothered. You know, I'm happy with my lot type thing. But no, I must like it. I don't know. I don't know about you. And here's the test, right? If you're not getting... Firstly, don't expect instant results. Everyone thinks you can get results within 6 months, or well, you can get some. Usually within 6 months, it's just an indicator. You start seeing all the, you know, you're going down the right path. The habits are well embedded within 3 months. As long as you're doing them and you're actually, you know, sticking to your guns and you're consistently working towards something, within 3 months it will be well embedded. And then after 6 months, you'll start seeing some sort of signs in the right direction. But if it's a huge change, like a big career change or a new business, or you know, you're studying for something big, it may take multiple years. It's not 6 months. So you've got to do many rounds of this, and yeah, you know, it takes a lot of discipline. And the test is when you get 6 months in and 12 months in. Like what I always do at the back of back of my journals, I always check. I read back through them. Just like spending an hour on a Saturday going through them, because it's a record of everything that you do. And I think you can't lie to yourself. If you keep putting at the bottom, oh, I should do this, I need to do this, you know, how can I improve? And you keep telling yourself off, then, you know, I'm not saying you're slipping up. Obviously, it's continuous improvement. But at the end of it, you ought to have some things ticked off. You know, you ought to be making progress. And if you're not, all you have to do is look back at the habits that you do daily and say, were I really doing those things that I said I'd commit to? You know, did I really stop eating cake? Maybe not. So it's as simple as that. You can't expect instant results, but if you're getting nothing, it tends to come down to what you do on a day-to-day basis. And this is why I always, start my day. I always write down what are the top 3 things that I need to do today, and I try and do them. Usually I do them all. Sometimes I might just do 2. Obviously you might do 10 things, 20 things in a day, but make sure 3 of them are meaningful towards your goals. We can all do 3 things, or at least 2, right, every day. And they might be small, but we need to do them. If we're not, and that's why I like journaling, because you record all this. And when you go back over it, you can see the periods in your life when you was falling off the wagon and slipping off. And you need to hold yourself accountable. That's the other good thing about writing it down. It becomes an accountability buddy. right? It's not a fucking prison, but you've got to do something. You can't, you know, if you're not getting the results that you want. And I find it very gratifying as well, ticking things off. Tick, tick, tick. It feels great. So yeah, this is a bit of a rant on discipline, but, you know, discipline is a tough thing. Once you get in the habit of it as well, once you start doing these things, honestly, once I think back a few years, I've always been ambitious and career, business, all that kind of thing. But I used to be like a shit without a sail. I just, I need to do this. And yeah, once I started putting in a system, like my system, the way I work, that's when I could track results. A few years ago, I started doing this when I was, Scott was showing me various tools when he was coaching me, and, was putting in systems to track goals and how to do them. I really started to notice, and you almost get the bug for it. It becomes an addiction. And yeah, things like self-improvement can become an addiction. I do agree. But it ain't it's a better addiction than, say, going down the pub and smashing 10 pints every night, or, whatever, addiction to gambling, or, there are worse addictions than being addicted to your own self-development. But once I started tracking this stuff, I realized that, yeah, you can literally just create a goal right on the horizon and work towards it, and eventually you'll get it. But if you use the system to track it, like what I've got in the journal, I just joined. Can you tell me what the context you were describing discipline in? Right, so this could be anything. I mean, in terms of context, it can be anything. I always use a fitness example. Or I quite often use a fitness example, or maybe a relationship example, or a business example, because these are just hypotheticals. But to me, the process of achieving what you want is the same, right? So the reason why I use a fitness example is because your physical health, I think, is almost like the cornerstone of your own self-development. I've been there. If you're very low mood and low productivity and everything, there tends to be some kind of issue in your physical health. This helps you to really think clearly, and if you're eating well and training, and you've got a clear mind, and you're eating whole foods, and you feel great, you're not got brain fog. I think it's so important. So I always use a fitness example because everyone can understand it quickly, right? But it doesn't matter whether it is fitness, or starting a business, or repairing a relationship with a family member, or anything like that. They're all things that you want. So the idea being is, we have goals and aspirations in life. Sometimes we do things that we don't need, but we want, and that's, we don't have to create businesses, and, we could just live the simple life, but, as humans, we have these kind of wants and needs. So we create that identity. We want, for ourselves, I'm going to be this person. And then we create some goals. So in order to have that identity, I need these goals ticked off. And then we start working towards it every day. Just from the start, you sound very grounded. Thank you. Discipline in life has to be up there with the most difficult things. Yes, it does. Yeah. Like I said at the start, I think discipline is like a commitment, isn't it? It's a choice between what you want now and what you want in the future. Because you can take the easy route now. You can eat the cake. You can eat the ice cream and feel good. But then you'll not get what you want in the future, and you'll get the long-term pain. So it's that choice. And discipline is a commitment to the life that you want, the goal that you want to achieve. It is sacrifice. I was thinking that when I was talking to Roberto this week. I've had 2 sessions with him this week. I was talking to him about this year has been pretty fucking hard for me. Just with starting the new business and getting refocused, I've had to completely refocus everything on business, and I have got my work cut out. And it's been hard, but I did it knowing, just like when I created my first business, I knew I had a very fucking easy life. Like my first business will be 13 years old in January, right? When I first created it, it was a very easy life, an extremely easy life. I was earning good consulting money, and then I decided to develop the software, right? My software business. And I knew that it was going to take up all my effort, all my money, all my time, everything. It nearly put me in a box, right? Literally nearly fucking killed me. And I knew how hard it was going. Well, you don't quite know, but I knew it was going to be difficult. And from the moment I committed to that, it must have took 4 years of rock solid work to get any kind of result. And it was fucking lonely. I went from being like really cash rich, like as in getting good, cash flow and all, to being very skint and very hard for 4 years, right? And it was horrendous. And then what actually happened was I got things turned around and we got some success. And I think it went to my head a bit. So I spent 3 or 4 years not really working that much, just living off this success. And like, if you look at some of my earlier videos from like last year and last few years, I'm just fucking traveling all the time and creating videos here and there and just doing whatever I wanted. I had a great time for a few years. And then this year, or the end of last year, I committed to starting the new business. So I'm back in that cycle again, and it's almost like a hero's journey, right? Have you ever seen the hero's journey diagram? Where you start and you have this call to adventure. I want to do this thing. So this is where you create that new identity for yourself. And then you leave. It's like leaving the Shire, in the Lord of the Rings. You have this call to adventure, and you go off to achieve what you want to achieve, and it's very fucking lonely, and especially when you're down there, in the guts of it, and you feel like success is not coming. I remember with the tech business the first time round, it felt super lonely. All the money's gone. Where are the clients? All these questions, and you just got to keep going. It's like a call to adventure, and eventually you return as a new person. And it is just like the identity evolution cycle. I remember it, but this was 4 years of hell for me. But if I go back here, where is it now? Oh, here we go. If you Google the hero's journey, it's like this in a way, but at the top, the hero's journey starts with, it's like someone with a stick, like a hiker, call to adventure, going through, I think there's like slaying the dragon and all that, going through all the challenges. But you become a new person, and I did that, and I'm just going out again with a new business. That's why this year I gave up on most of the life. I've had a few trips, but I gave up on most of the lifestyle, and recommitted to that business focus. I am disciplined, not that I don't want to. Right, I am undisciplined, not that I don't want to be, and that I don't see the benefits from the lifestyle, but the importance of that, though. Yeah, I think that's a good point, because if you've ever, right, so in starting the new business, I knew, again, because I've done it before. I think when I started my first business, I was younger and a bit more naive, and I really wanted to do it. I really wanted to do it. I used to work in corporate. I never really wanted. I worked in corporate for the experience, but I always wanted to do my own thing. I always had this sort of feeling that I should do my own thing. So I was always going to do that, but I did not know the difficulties that were involved with it. Honestly, it was like, but when I go out again and do it with a new business, I already know roughly that it's going to be hard work. But if you haven't, and let's say you're undisciplined, and because you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, right, it, you could say it's like faith, like it's like psycho-cybernetics, you know, the book or the practice. It's like you've got to have that it's like identity shifting. You've got to use that and have faith in it that you'll become what you're supposed to become that thing straight away the minute you commit to it. But you've got to have faith that it'll work. It's like, I want to be disciplined because I want to achieve this. Therefore, every day I'm going to simple habits working towards it, right? And it may take a long time, but you've got to have faith that you will get there eventually. It's like when I talked about this before. There's a book, Seth Godin, the marketing guru. He's done one called The Dip, and he talks about that lonely place at the bottom. And I've heard of Alex Hormozy talk about this in his vids. You know, when you're at the bottom and it feels like it's not working, and you spent all your money or whatever, and you're hacking it out alone because you haven't got success yet. No one cheers you on. It's lonely as fuck, right? And you got to have faith that if you keep going, because this is it. If you don't, I've said this in other videos, if you don't have passion and belief in what you're doing, you'll give up, because it is very lonely down there. So this is where, if you're just chasing money, it won't work. If you're just doing it for the money and you're not really interested in it, you will give up. You've got to have passion. You need the grit. I did a really good article on the goalachievementhub.com website. There's one called the 9 traits that successful people continuously do or something. It's 9 things, and the first one is grit. Right, you need to have grit to push through, because when it's lonely, and this is discipline. When you're undisciplined and you can't see the result, it is about faith in what you're doing and continuously working, and you've got to keep doing it. It's like, yeah, I've got experience in doing it, so I know that it's hard, and it's easier for me to have faith in, I'll just keep working, it will get there eventually. But yeah, I've seen lots of people give up. I saw friends of mine give up on software projects. I remember, if you're going to do something like that, it's really not worth it on paper. It isn't worth it. That's why you need that grit, because whenever I've tried it, it's like, fucking hell, you'd be better off doing something else. The amount of time and effort and burnout it gives you, it ain't worth it on paper. And that's why you need the grit, which is like a discipline. And that grit comes from passion. Anyway, I hope that was useful. Yeah. That's a good one from the Lord of the Rings, yeah. You're more like Samwise Gamgee, and I'm more like Gollum. Right, okay. Gollum's got 2 sides to him though, hasn't he? He's got Gollum, who's this... So Gollum, as a character, is completely undisciplined, and he's the opposite of delayed gratification. Everything is about now. I want the precious and all that. He wants... he's a dopamine addict, right? But his alter ego, that was Schmeagol, right? He got corrupted. I think Schmeagol had poor boundaries of what I can remember. He wasn't, he wanted to live a disciplined life. He was living in the Shire. He was a hobbit. But he had a weak mind to allow him to get corrupted into Gollum. Whereas Samwise, the opposite, you know, same background, both hobbits. Samwise was very tempted by the ring, you know, to corrupt him in power. But he applied some discipline, didn't he? Every time he used to use it, you know, in the film, slip it on here and there when he needed to, right? In emergency situations. And this is a good one because Samwise was a disciplined person that even Aragon, you know, the hard men that were protecting him, Aragon knew that he could not hold the ring. He was tempted by it and he knew that Samwise had to do that. So Samwise is a good one. This hobbit had the discipline, whereas all the others, all the strong men around him, could not. And Smeagol got corrupted by it. Right, I'm going to shoot. Thank you for listening. Went off a few tangents, but I hope we got some, what do you call it, like analogies there out of the Lord of the Rings. I think, yeah, that is a good point. The Lord of the Rings discussion, you can see the story of discipline and delayed gratification there. Look at Smeagol, is the opposite of delayed gratification. He ended up corrupted with the ring. Samwise was the opposite of, Gollum. Smeagol got corrupted into Gollum because he was undisciplined and he chose short-term gratification. Samwise chose delayed gratification, discipline, and everyone else around Samwise did not have quite the discipline that Samwise had. Good analogy. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Right, I've got to shoot. Okay, don't forget, like the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe. See you all next time.